As the walls of the capital came into view, Lord Cartagia called his forces to halt. The forces of the false king Alphonius were arrayed in the field before the city. Along with the corrupted Bretonnians, Cartagia was dismayed to see that the beastmen's forces had arrived. Though he was pleased to notice how few of the creatures there were, their very presence meant that Lady Aveline had fallen. Cartagia gritted his teeth. He was tired of good people dying by the hands of these monsters. It would end today. Either Bretonnia would be free of the grip of chaos, or they would all die for that cause. He looked to his allies. The ogres and the men of the Empire had both proven themselves in these last weeks, and he only hoped they would continue to prove greater than the threats arrayed against them. Cartagia continued to scan the crowd, and finally he saw the form of King Alphonius riding at the head of a group of Grail Knights. That's it, he thought to himself. If I can kill Alphonius, this ends. It doesn't matter what happens after that. So decided, Cartagia sounded the charge. Today, Bretonnia would be saved, no matter the cost. Alright, so here is the board for our last fight, and boy did terrain start screwing us early. As you can see, the Maw Pit on my side is actually a charnel pit, so there is -1 leadership radiating out from that. You can see the walls that are blocking up a good half of or protecting rather, half of the Legions of Chaos army, so that's gonna really give problems to the Bretonnians, and that tower in the middle is a wizard's tower, so there's a lot of potential magic up for grabs, and then there's forests on our side, which again is pretty much where the Bretonnians deployed, so definitely kind of screwy setup. Now, this scenario is a little different, just to get everything in there. What it is the Legions of Chaos side has 3,500 points on its side, and added to the Legions of Chaos list for the purpose of this is Bretonnia. So he can take the Bretonnian army and has to take a model representing Lord Alphonius, essentially to be the corrupted Bretonnians. Then on our side, Skip and I have 3,500 points, but 1,500 points of that is Bretonnia, which is basically treated as a separate army, so we can double up on magic items and stuff, because my side of the army is separate for the purposes of construction. And then I have 2,000 points to make using Empire and Ogres, essentially treating them as a single army. And I have to have at least one Empire character and at least one Empire unit. So that's pretty much how we're set up. It can be a little confusing, but I'll try and keep it straight. And beyond that, we're going 6 turns, normal victory conditions. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so for the Legions of Chaos, we start with a unit of 20 Chaos Marauders, marked Khorne, and they're in the Raging Torrent Flood, so they lost one guy to dangerous terrain there. Then there's a unit of 15 Khorne Warriors with extra hand weapons. Behind them is 15 Tzeentch Warriors with shields, and a Tzeentch Exalted Hero as his BSB. Then he's got a Chaos War Shrine marked Tzeentch. He has Morgrul the Destroyer, his Demon Prince General, who is basically kitted out like he's been the last couple of games, except now he's also a level 3 caster, the Lord of Tzeentch. Then there is 30 Gore Herd with additional hand weapons, all marked to Khorne, and in the front corner of that is a Great Bray Shaman who is level 4 to the Lore of the Wild. Then he has a unit of 9 Grail Knights. In with them is King Alphonius, who is Heroic Killing Blow, the whole 9, and 2 other paladins that form the wall there. One of them with like the Hunt virtue. I don't remember what the other virtue is, but he's got one who's very killy, one who's very defendy, and then the Heroic Killing Blow. And then next to that, he has a unit of 5 Nurgle Knights. And then scouted up here at the edge of the wall is 3 bases of Nurglings. So then for Bretonnia, you can see off to the side the Green Knight is there waiting to come on. Also have a group of what looks like 3, 6, 9, 12 Knights of the Realm with a level 2 caster to beasts in there, as well as Lord Cartasia, who has the lore of the virtue of the joust. He doesn't actually have any heroic killing blow on this side. Then there's a trebuchet, 10 peasant bowmen, a second lance of knight errants. Those guys has his BSB in them, who is a survivable, like, one-up rerollable armor save kind of homeboy. And then a second trebuchet behind that. Alright, and then from right to left, Empire Ogres, I've got one cat. Behind them is a unit of 20 great swords. The warrior priest Archlector Heinrich von Grunberg. He's just a warrior priest because of points restrictions. And my level 4 Felix Weishoff, the level 4 Delight. Next is a unit of 2 Mournfang Cavalry. They're defensively kitted, Bellower and Standard. Behind them is 6 Man-Eaters with additional hand weapons and the standard of movement. They have Swift Stride and Poison. Then there's a unit of 12 Ogres with my Tyrant Tokron Face Crusher, who is Fencer's Blades, Glittering Scales, Greedy Fist, and then my Standard Bearer Gat the Old, who has the Dragonhide Banner. And last but not least, in a terrible position, is my second cat, who is playing around in the charnel pit looking for food, I guess. So, game gets started, and Legions of Chaos gets the first turn. As you can see here, they come up pretty aggressively in the center here. The War Shrine is kind of staying near things. He wants to start pumping characters with its spell. You can see the Demon Prince is hiding over against the wall there. And I think he moves the Marauders a little after I take this picture, but he leaves the Nurglings there, so whatever. He brings up his Grail Knights aggressively, but still leaving a pretty long charge. I think the good Bretonnians need a 10 to hit him if they go from here. And then the Nurgle Knights stay just on the other side of the forest. He doesn't want to really risk it, but he doesn't want to leave that forest unwatched in case the Green Knight shows up and decides to play charge into the flank of various things. So he's playing very cagey. Yep, and here is the other picture where the Marauders here come up just a little bit, but since he's in the river, he can't march, so they're getting left a little bit behind. So during Magic, he pops the Hag Tree Fetish on this Trebuchet, ends up getting Vile Tide off on it, kills the Trebuchet. My cat is within 6 inches of it, and panics and runs off the board. So, awesome. Definitely not a good start for our side. So we go into Good Guys turn 1, and I decide to go ahead and run the Mournfang into the Nurglings. Figure that I can put a hole in them and carry through and hit that big horde and just hold them up. Because, I mean, Strength 3 is just not going to get it done against those Mournfang. Everything else I bring up as a line. I definitely love the idea of being able to use light magic on ogres, so I want to stay nice and tight so I can get some of those bubble spells off. Over here, the peasants move into the forest and find out it's a stupidity forest, and the Knight Errant unit moves over to the Swift reforms and moves to here to get ready for the evil Grail Knights to come in. Though I think there was a little mistake here, and you'll see where it's coming, where I think he moved up a little too much. The evil Grail Knights only need a 9 to come in there. So then we go to my magic phase, and I get to throw Speed of Light off on the Mournfang, but I miscast it and get a big template dropped right on the great swords and kill fully half the unit. In addition to that, my wizard takes a wound, but luckily he does not get sucked into the warp, but it does take away the rest of our magic dice, so that is the end of turn 1 magic for us. You can also see the cat I moved up to kind of block ideally to block those Khorne warriors, but then the combat goes, and I beat enough of the Nurglings to open that area up so that that positioning was pointless, but not enough to get rid of the units. So my Mournfang Cav are stuck there, and now the Khorne warriors can come in whenever the hell they want to. And that's pretty much what they do. Going into Legion's turn 2, the Marauders slam into the side of the Cat. He does lose several more Marauders to the dangerous terrain, and the Khorne Warriors slam into my Mournfang Cav. And much more alarmingly, the Evil Grail Knights with their character wall slam right into the front of this unit of Errant Knights with his BSB there, and that's just all sorts of bad news. Oh, and as you can see, since he's still standing there, the Green Knight did not come in last turn for us, so awesome, except totally not. Then during remaining moves, the Nurgle Knights come out from behind the forest and essentially take position in front of the other forest, basically just daring the peasants to do something, because that knight unit's going to eat those peasants if they try any crap. And then here, everything else in the back rank just starts crowding up. He kind of knows he's got more pressure to put on us here, so he just wants to keep it tight, wants to break through these Mournfang and be able to bring basically 3/4 of his army into my side of things over here. So he's definitely doing well to put the pressure. We can certainly feel it. So then during Magic, his Lore of the Wild guy gets off Traitorkin, which catches my Mournfang, and the Mournfangs throw the Ogres off the back and kill one of them. So that's super not good at all. So I've only got one Mournfang left, handling one more base of Nurgles and that whole thing of Khorne warriors as well. So this may look a little weird. My Mournfang could not do anything in this fight, but luckily he didn't do much to me, but had way more than enough static combat res to break me. So I fleed center to center from the biggest unit, which sends me off at an angle. He pursues with both, and because of the way the angling worked out and what he hit first, the Nurgling unit slams into my great swords, and the Khorne warriors slam face first into my man-eaters, and yeah, that was terrible. And to make matters even worse, this unit of Grail Knights and these characters just absolutely murders the Knight Errant unit, including King Alphonius heroic killing blowing the Bretonnian BSB. So it's just absolutely slaughter town. As you can see, the good Bretonnians did nothing back because Michael is rolling out of the box on ward saves and armor saves. So we go into our turn 2, and I'm like, I need to get some shit going. So I slam my Ogres right into the side of these Khorne warriors, hoping we can just go ahead and get the freak rid of them, and then reform before he brings the rest of the army down my throat. Over here, the Knights of the Realm attempt to charge the Nurgle Knights and fail and only go up a few inches. The peasants are stupid and stumble up a couple inches. I don't remember if I took a picture of that. And on top of it all, the Green Knight fails to come in again. Skip is rolling out of the box on that one. But I guess I can't blame him. I'm rolling for crap on everything I'm rolling up to this point, and it's really looking bad for the good guys. Yep, here's the picture of the stupid peasants literally stepping up now where the knights can get into them and don't even have to enter the forest, which is just terrific. So our magic is garbage and doesn't do much of anything, I don't think. Or no, actually I think I do get Briona's up on my Ogres, but I miscast again, lose 2 levels, and lose Briona's and Speed of Battle, which is just terrible. But then we huck a rock from the Trebuchet, it drifts, only catches 3 Tzeentch warriors and kills them. So then we go into combat, and we start off here, and obviously a big old pack of great weapon-wielding dudes is going to take out one last base of Nurglings with no wounds, but there's really nowhere I can reform. Those knights that busted up his knights are going to be coming in the back, but I can't turn my back on this big horde and his demon prince to do anything about it. So I've just got to stand there and see where he's going to go with it. And, of course, the White Tooth gets shit done. We make, because I'm always strike first, I don't get rerolls, but the ogres just absolutely eat that unit of Khorne Knights, or Khorne Warriors. The only wound I take is one wound on the champion of the Maneater unit, because the only thing that was left of that 15-man was the champion of the Khorne Warriors who was in a challenge with my guy. So we go into turn 3 for Warriors. He ends up charging and threading the needle to get these Tzeentch Warriors into the face of my Ogres. His hope here is he's just going to hold them up and be able to deal with everything else with my big horde. And he very, very well might. I mean, other than my characters, I'm only strength 4 here, and he's got 3-up armor save and a 5-up parry. Here, he tries to charge into my great swords. I flee. He redirects into the man-eaters and then fails the charge and ends up at the fence. And then he charges the knights into the peasant bowmen. Really, the only hope at this point is that the peasant bowmen will be stubborn because they're skirmishers. Be stubborn in the forest long enough to let his lance of Knights of the Realm get into them and put a hurting on them, but realistically that's going to require some luck because those knights are just going to eat those peasants. Then over here he swift reforms the marauders and moves them around so they're lined up with a flank charge on my ogres if he holds them up with the Tzeentch Knights. He moves his demon prince behind the gore and moves his shrine up to support. And then over here, he swift reforms his big, scary bus of terrifying knights so that he can pretty much charge anything over here he wants to. And that is terrifying. And I'll be 100% honest with you, I have no idea how to deal with it. I could turn, if I rally those great swords and kind of block it, but he's going to eat them, kill them, and overrun them anyway. And there's decent points in there because there's 2 characters. So I'm really running out of options here, and I don't know how to deal with it. So we go into combat. He doesn't get anything off in the way of magic, I don't think. Goes into combat. He actually doesn't kill all of the peasants. They need a 8 or 9 reroll, or with no reroll, because they're stubborn. And he rolls an 11. They get killed. And the Nurgle Knights overrun, don't take any dangerous terrain, and get out of the charge arc of the Knights of the Realm. And you'll see the Green Knight is still there. He hasn't gotten in anything yet. So we go combat here, and I do nothing. Like, literally nothing. My character, I think Tok'ran kills a couple, but he is, like, 6-up ward saving like a beast. And I get nothing on him. Only thing that, I think I may even lose this, but I don't break. So we go into our next turn, and I bring in the Man-Eaters into the side. I need to break this unit now, because if the Ogres are still there next turn, those Marauders are going to come in. They got flails. They're going to eat me, because there are a lot of attacks with flails, and it's high strength. Things are going real bad for the good guys right now, and I don't know how to handle it. He's rolling like a beast, and we're rolling like crap. Only good roll for this turn is I do manage to rally my guys right here. I do decide to stay the hell out of the way of that lance. He can come into me if he wants, but I think I'm more happy letting him go into something and me get into the back of him. I also want the chance to shoot him up a little bit because I still have the magic missile from Light, the basement, Shem's Burning Gaze. So if I do that at strength 6, I might be able to cut through something. Over here, he just decides he needs, Skip decides he needs to get his guys into the enemy backfield, so pretty much ignores everything over here. He's giving up the Trebuchet for dead and moves them around here so they can come around. And again, this is what, turn 3, the Green Knight fails to come on again, so you see him still sitting there. So during Magic Phase, I do manage to get Shem's Burning Gaze off at the Strength 6 setting and kill 4 of the Grail Knights, so that's not bad. I just wish they weren't immune to Psychology so that they would have to panic, but come see, come saw. At this point, we're just taking models off the board that's not ours, so we're considering this a win. So we go into combat finally with literally everything I've got left on this side of the board into them. The Tzeentch Knights break. I don't even kill many of them. He just gets a bad leadership roll. Again, he's just rolling amazingly, but static combat was on my side. They broke. Got ran down, and the Man-Eaters ran far enough where they clipped the Gore Herd, so they go in there, and that's going to be a fight for next turn. So we go into Bretonnia, or Evil Bretonnia Chaos Legion turn, and the Grail Knights decide to go into the Man-Eaters. And this could be bad, but this may be my one opportunity to get through there. And yeah, we got to do something. I've absolutely got to get into that unit and put a hurting on him. So, other than that, he just kind of reforms everything over here. He's got no other charges, so it is what it is. So, with no magic going on, the Man-Eaters throw everything they can at the back unit and do some major killing. There's basically a couple of characters and a couple of knights left after it's over, but they, between the Gores and the knights, just annihilate the Man-Eaters to a man. And reform so that the Ogres, you can see, are in their front. And the Ogres actually can get in here. I know this shot doesn't look like it, but yeah, I'm going to get in there next turn. And that's exactly what I do. Not only do I turn and slam into the Ogres, or slam into him with the Ogres, but I manage to hit him in the flank with the Great Weapon, the Great Swords. So this could be very, very good. Alphonius is in this unit. He needs to die. I cannot have any more great heroic killing blows in here. So Tok'ran is really going to try and mess his shit up. And also over here, in an amazing show of bravery, Lord Cartagia charges out of his unit because the unit can't get around to get the Morgrul, the Demon Prince, but Cartagia charges out of the unit and slams into the side of the Demon Prince. Now, when Skip did this, I thought, awesome, he's got Heroic Killing Blow, Morgrul is going down, but no, he doesn't actually have Heroic Killing Blow, so this makes this both less effective and more courageous and awesome. So, we go into... and during Magic, I got Light of Battle off, so I'm succeeding every leadership check over here. But we go into combat. Alphonius does get taken down. Tok'ran finishes him off. The unit breaks or is killed, and I think I kill him to a man, and then overrun the Great Swords into the front of the Gores and reform the Ogres so I'm not taking Marauders in the ass. Over here, it actually is not bad. The Demon Prince loses combat, but he does inflict 2 wounds on Lord Cartagia at the same time, and only takes 1 in return, but since he is a Warriors of Chaos Demon Prince, he is unbreakable and does not go anywhere. So we go into Legion's turn, and you'll notice the freaking Green Knight is still sitting over there. He has not come on yet. The Knights of Nurgle slam into the Trebuchet, and it's going to go bye-byes. And he brings the Marauders into the front of the Ogres here. Now that I can parry, I'm a little less worried about this. And Tok'ran is going to get in there and eat probably 6 of those guys in a turn. So there's definitely some ability to get rid of these guys. Though I still am at risk here, so I'm not super excited about this. But they've got to die. We've got to get the points. We've finally got some momentum, and we need to make use of it. So combat goes, we start with the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince turns around and absolutely murders Lord Cartagia. Just rips him apart. I think he ends up doing 4 wounds to him this turn on top of the 2 he already had. So yeah, it was a bad day to be Cartagia. Then in the combat in the center, the greatswords do some damage to the Gore, but he did declare a challenge. I refused. My warrior priest went to the back, and while that's happening, Felix Weishoff is getting murdered by the front rank. So my wizard is dead, and I've got 5 great swords and a warrior priest there, but luckily they are stubborn and they stick. Then over here, I take a couple of lumps from the Marauders, but totally trash them, and turn around and reform, so I go a little wider and get ready to come slamming into the flank of the Gore herd on our next turn. And that's exactly what I do. Also, the remainder of the Knights of the Realm decide to follow Cartagia's courageous example and come running into the flank of Morgul the Demon Prince. Now, the awesome thing about this is because of how wide my ogres are, if I do kill this unit, we can overrun, and provided that my great weapon wielder or great sword guys get out of the way, I will clip the Demon Prince and go into a fight with him. So we go into magic phase. We try to throw Wissons from his wizard there, and he stops it, and then he tries to throw the Curse of Honor here on the Demon Prince, miscasts it, blows up half of the Knights of the Realm, and sucks the wizard down the hole. So certainly not worth it for a -1 to hit. And it's just another sign of how our dice are going. And I did miss a turn, but basically we go in, the Gore break, run, the Ogres chase, hit the Demon Prince, and they go to town. Tok'ra, during the fight, the Demon Prince tries to kill the whole unit of knights and fails to do so. And Tok'ra comes in and ruins his freaking day and takes him out, which is super awesome. The 2 Gore, though, his Bray Shaman and the one guy basically get to there. He failed to rally. This is his top of turn 6. Fails to rally and ends up where he's at, but at this point it's only those 2 and a Chaos War Shrine and the 5 Nurgle Knights on the table. And of course the 5 Nurgle Knights ate the Trebuchet. We didn't even bother having him to roll, but they're way the hell out of the way and not going to impact anything at the moment. So, yeah, you see them coming and hanging out there, and that's pretty much it. And then at the bottom of turn fucking 6, the Green Knight shows up to try and claim all the freaking glory, and couldn't even do anything. I mean, because it's bottom of 6, who gives a shit? But Skip also tries to run down those 2 guys with the Knights of his Realm, and then rolls a 3 on the charge range and fails to catch them, so they escape. But that fucking Green Knight had us all cursing. So this is what we're looking at. The Ogres, at least the main brick of the Ogres, are pretty much untouched. I only lost Man-Eaters and Mournfang and a couple of cats. The Archlector is still alive. Pretty much my allied Bretonnians, there's 4 knights left and none of them are characters. And the Legion of Chaos is defeated down to 1 Great Bray Shaman, 1 Gore, 5 Nurgle Knights, and a Chaos War Shrine. So definitely a bloody game and a freaking awesome one. The blades of Tok'ra Face Crusher swept across the chest of Morgul the Destroyer, ripping open the Demon Prince's sternum and exposing his heart. With a grunt, Tok'ra's head darted forward, and the tyrant used his teeth to tear the blackened heart from Morgul's body. With the Demon Prince's death, the power of chaos was broken from the field. Tok'ra looked around and saw that very little other than his own ogres had survived. The city itself was ablaze, and the dead could not easily be counted. The tyrant's eyes sought out his allies, but only the Archlector, Heinrich von Grunberg, remained, mourning over the death of his young ward, Felix Weishoff. Suddenly the form of the Green Knight appeared. He approached the tyrant and dipped his lance in salute. "Well fought, Ogre." His words were choked off as Tok'ra grabbed him by the throat with the greedy fist and yanked him from the back of his steed. "Where were you?" the ogre demanded angrily. The Green Knight had told them he would be supporting their attempts to reclaim the capital, and his absence in the battle had been sorely felt. Tok'ron gave the knight just enough air to speak. I waited for an opportune moment, which never came, the ogre interrupted. We all faced inopportune moments, and because you could not be bothered to join us, many died, including the one your lady wished to be king. You must have faith, Tok'ron, the Green Knight began, but was quickly interrupted. No! I have no faith in your lady, or any power too weak to stand with those who fight in its name. Your lady used us to regain Corone, and I will not allow that to happen. With a sudden jerk, Tok'ron crushed the neck of the Green Knight in the grasp of the greedy fist. He watched as the power of the Great Maw drained the essence of the knight into the enchanted gauntlet. He then turned to the remaining forces that stood shocked at this display. Bretonnia is free from the grip of chaos. But it was not by the will of any god, but by the strength of mortals. Return to the faith of the lady if you wish. But the city of Corone will be held by the White Tooth from this day forward to honor the workings and the will of the mortals who freed it. With that, Tok'ron gathered up the remains of Lord Cartagia in his arms and entered his new city. In the months to follow, Tok'ron spent much of the wealth of the city to construct a massive mausoleum and shrine to honor the dead of the war. Within were laid to rest men of the Empire and Bretonnia, and ogres in equal measure. The remains of all those who served chaos were devoured, and their twisted bones used to mark out the boundaries of the territory that the White Tooth claimed. And so the rest of Bretonnia began to rebuild, forging ahead into an uncertain destiny, with one eye on the future, and the other continually looking within, to watch this new power that had insinuated itself within their borders. So, this was an amazing game. Super duper stressful. Early on, Skip and I both thought we were going to absolutely be tabled by the end of turn 4. But we managed the ogres at any rate managed to make good as much as we could, and things started turning to us, and it was a super bloody game. But it was awesome. It was definitely the kind of game you want for the end of a narrative campaign that's had as much effort put into it as this one. However, the fact that everybody died except for the ogres really changed how we thought this was going to end. So the world is a very different place leading into our next campaign, which will take place 2 years after this one, basically. But the idea that the ogres now, or the White-Tooth clan of the ogres now actually have a stronghold within the former capital of Bretonnia is pretty crazy. But for those of you who love Bretonnia, minus the capital, Bretonnia is free of the grip of chaos. Yay! The fake King Alphonius was killed. The Demon Prince was killed. Tzeentch has been defeated. So that's pretty awesome. But I don't think any of the armies really got away unscathed. It was definitely bloody, and it was a throwdown, and it was pretty awesome. And I'll be honest, I can actually see the point, going back now, I see the point where Michael lost this game. When he charged the Scary Knights into the back of the Man-Eaters, he should have charged them into the flank of the ogres instead. It was basically needed. He would have hit it with the dice roll he made, because he would have chewed that unit up, I think. But by not doing that, he ended up giving me the opportunity to bring those ogres in on a charge, and it really, that was where our momentum started to build. So really, it was pretty amazing that the forces of evil lost due to one relatively minor tactical error that I was able to capitalize on. So it was a hell of a lot of fun. This whole campaign's been a hell of a lot of fun. So I hope you guys have enjoyed following us on this whole journey and seeing where it's going. And I hope you'll tune in for the new campaign that'll be getting started in the next week or so. As always, if there are any questions or comments, please leave them below. I would love to see what people think of the new city of ogres within Bretonnia. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of like WTF reactions from that, but super awesome. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. It's been an absolute treat to be able to share this campaign with you guys, and just all of the good, positive feedback I get, and all of the views and the comments and the likes and stuff have really made this whole process worthwhile. So thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next one.